What's up, Broncos country? Brace yourselves, because what I'm about to tell you today is going to leave a lot of people stunned. You won't believe what just happened in the world of draft projections. And look, when I saw this, my first reaction was total disbelief. But hold on, take a deep breath, because we're going to break this all down right here. A mock draft for the 2026 draft just came out that has the Denver Broncos doing something that seems impossible. The projection shows our team taking a quarterback in the first round. That's right, you heard it, a quarterback. And we're not talking about picking up a backup, we're talking about a possible replacement for Bo Nix. Man, I know there's a lot going on behind this. I know there are heated debates about Bo Nix's performance. I know the fan base is divided between those who believe in his heroics in clutch time and those who want to see more consistency. But replace him already? After everything he's shown? This is something nobody in Broncos country was prepared to hear. And there's more. The quarterback this mock draft projects for Denver is John Mateer, current quarterback of the Oklahoma Sooners. And look, the guy is good, really good. But is he what we need right now? Does it make sense to invest a first-round pick on a quarterback when we have Bo Nix, who has already shown brilliant flashes? Now, before you explode with anger, let's take it easy. Let's understand the full context of this situation. Because this projection didn't come out of nowhere. There's a line of reasoning behind it, and we need to analyze this intelligently. After all, Broncos country isn't driven by pure emotion. We understand football. First, let's talk about John Mateer. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? And why the hell would anyone believe he could replace Bo Nix? Mateer started his career at Washington State, where he played behind another quarterback who was selected in the first round. But when it was his turn to take command of the offense, the guy absolutely dominated. He was so impressive that Oklahoma, one of the most traditional programs in college football, went and grabbed him from the transfer portal. And it wasn't by accident. Oklahoma has a reputation for developing elite quarterbacks who go to the NFL and succeed. Think about it. Baker Mayfield, who now leads the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, came from Oklahoma. Kyler Murray, who plays for the Arizona Cardinals, too. Both were number 1 picks in the draft. So when Oklahoma goes looking for a quarterback in the transfer portal, that means something. It means they saw elite potential. Mateer started the 2025 season as a Heisman Trophy candidate. The guy was flying. In the first 4 games, he accumulated 1,015 yards through the air, 6 touchdown passes, 190 rushing yards, and 5 more rushing touchdowns. The numbers were insane. His mobility is something that catches your attention. He's not just a pocket passer. The guy knows how to use his legs, knows how to create plays when everything breaks down. But then came the problem. Mateer suffered an injury to his right hand, his throwing hand. And it wasn't just any injury. It was something that took him off the field for a month. He needed surgery. And when a quarterback injures his throwing hand, man, that's serious, because everything in his game depends on that hand. Precision, arm strength, the ability to make the throws that make a difference. Before the injury, Mateer was being projected as a possible first-round pick. But the injury changed everything. Now, evaluators are in a wait-and-see mode. If he comes back strong at the end of the season and performs well against ranked teams like Alabama, Missouri, and LSU, he could recover that first-round status. But if the hand doesn't come back 100%, he could drop significantly in the draft. And here's an important detail. Mateer has 1 more year of eligibility. That means he's not required to declare for the 2026 draft. If he feels he's not ready, he can return for another season at Oklahoma. And that completely changes the dynamics of everything. But let's talk about his game. Mateer has a strong arm. It's not the strongest arm in the class, but it's solid. He can make all the throws the NFL requires. His height, 6'1", isn't ideal by traditional NFL standards, but we've seen guys of that height have enormous success in the league. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Baker Mayfield. Height isn't everything. What scouts like about him is his aggressive mindset. He doesn't play scared. He plays to win. And that's something you can't teach. His ability to make quick reads, process information, and make decisions under pressure is legitimate. And his mobility adds an extra dimension to the offense. But he has weaknesses. His arm strength diminishes on deeper throws. He's efficient in the short and intermediate game, but when he needs to throw the ball deep, vertically, the ball velocity drops a bit. Another problem is that he tends to lock onto receivers. Sometimes he fixates on a target before the snap and maintains focus on that guy. And in the NFL, that's fatal. So to sum up, Mateer is an interesting prospect with legitimate tools for the NFL. He has arm talent, mobility, and a competitive mindset. But he also has technical issues he needs to resolve, and the hand injury adds a layer of uncertainty. Under normal circumstances, he would be a solid second or third round prospect, but guaranteed first round, that's a reach. And here's where things get really controversial. The mock draft is suggesting that the Denver Broncos do this, and worse, it's suggesting we do this to replace Bo Nix. And man, that's enough to make anyone in Broncos country's hair stand on end. So now let's talk about our quarterback, Bo Nix. Because if we're going to discuss the possibility of replacing him, we need to understand exactly who he is and what he's done for the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix was Denver's pick in the 2024 draft. We took him at the end of the first round with the 12th pick. And since then, he's been the team's starting quarterback. There was no transition period. He was thrown straight into the fire. And for a rookie, for a guy in his first year, he's done impressive things. Let's look at the numbers. Bo Nix is tied for third place in the NFL in touchdown passes with 17 touchdowns. That shows he knows how to find the end zone. And there's more. He's one of only 2 quarterbacks in the entire league who has fewer than 10 sacks taken and 15 or more touchdown passes. The other is Sam Darnold. That shows pocket awareness. And speaking of total touchdowns, Bo is tied for second place in the NFL with 20 touchdowns combining passes and runs. That's elite production, and perhaps most impressively, his performance at the end of games. The Denver Broncos have been exceptional in clutch situations. When the game is on the line, Bo Nix shows up. So, why the hell would anyone be talking about replacing this guy? Well, that's where the consistency question comes in. In the first 3 quarters of games, Bo sometimes disappears. The offense gets stuck. Third downs aren't converted. And then, in the fourth quarter, when everything is on the line, Bo wakes up and becomes a superhero. And some people think, if he can play like that in the fourth quarter, why can't he play like that the whole game? And it's a fair question. Because if Bo played all 4 quarters at the level he plays the last quarter, we'd be talking about an MVP candidate. But football doesn't work that way. And the truth is that Bo Nix is still learning. He's still adjusting to the pace of the NFL, to the speed of the game, to the complexity of defenses. And man, he's doing this while carrying the team on his back. That's not easy. And you know what's crazier? Even with these ups and downs, the Denver Broncos are winning. The team is competitive. The defense is playing at a high level, and Bo is doing enough to win. They're not perfect performances, but they're winning performances. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. So when someone suggests we should trade Bo Nix for an unproven prospect like John Mateer, it raises the question, why? Why risk the development of a quarterback who's already showing he can win in the NFL for a guy who may or may not adapt? And there's another important point. The rest of the Denver Broncos roster is solid. The defense is among the best in the league. The running game is working. The receivers are capable. The team has pieces. What the team needs isn't necessarily a new quarterback. What the team needs is to continue developing Bo Nix, continue adding offensive weapons around him. The justification given in the mock draft was something like, Denver has one of the best rosters in the NFL outside of the quarterback position. They need an upgrade at the position. And man, that's simply ridiculous. It's a total lack of respect for what Bo Nix has done. It's completely ignoring the context of being a rookie quarterback on a team that's in transition. Bo Nix is 24 years old. He has decades of career ahead of him. He's showing flashes of what he can be, and the natural tendency is for him to improve with time, with experience. Betting against that, betting on discarding him now, would be one of the dumbest decisions the Denver Broncos could make. And Broncos country knows that. If you're true Broncos country, subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss any plays. We're going to keep following everything about the team, about Bo Nix, about the draft. Let's be fair here. Mock drafts aren't definitive predictions. They're speculation. They're what-if exercises. And often they're made precisely to generate buzz, to generate clicks. And this mock draft accomplished that. Everyone's talking. And that's exactly what whoever made this projection wanted. But that doesn't make the idea any less absurd. Because those who really know this team, who really understand the situation, know that trading Bo Nix now would be crazy. It would be throwing away all the investment, all the development, all the chemistry that's being built. And another thing, let's assume Denver really wanted to take a quarterback in the 2026 draft. Why would it be John Mateer? Why not other higher-ranked prospects? If you're going to make such a drastic change, at least go after the best prospect available, not a guy who has injury concerns. The truth is that none of this makes sense. It's a projection that was made either by someone who doesn't follow the Denver Broncos closely or by someone who was trying to be controversial on purpose. And it worked. Here we are talking about it. But it worked for all the wrong reasons. Because the reality is this. Bo Nix is the future of the Denver Broncos. He's the guy who's going to lead this team for years to come. He's the guy the organization believed in enough to use a first-round pick on. And more importantly, he's the guy who's showing week after week that he deserves that trust. Yes, he needs to improve. Yes, he needs to be more consistent throughout all 4 quarters. But all of that is normal for a young quarterback. All of that is part of the development process. And giving up on him now would be admitting defeat before the battle is even over. And you know what I think is going to happen? I think Bo Nix is going to use this kind of doubt as fuel. He's going to take this and turn it into motivation, because that's how competitors react. They elevate their game, and I'd bet anything that Bo Nix is going to do exactly that. Now, let me ask you, Broncos country, do you believe in Bo Nix? Do you believe he can be the franchise quarterback we've been looking for years? Because I believe. I've seen the flashes of brilliance, I've seen the leadership, I've seen the winning mentality, and I know that with the right support, with the right weapons, he can become something special. But don't get me wrong, I understand the frustration. I understand when you watch a game and see the offense struggling in the first 3 quarters. I understand when you see other teams with quarterbacks who seem to have mastered it from day one. And you wonder, why can't it be like that for us? And the answer is, because every quarterback is different, every trajectory is unique. Peyton Manning played horribly in his first year. Brett Favre took years to become legendary. Even Tom Brady needed time. The path isn't linear. Progress isn't instantaneous. Bo Nix is on his path. He's writing his own journey, and part of that journey will include bad games, questionable decisions, moments of doubt. But it will also include dramatic victories, impossible plays, moments that Broncos country will remember forever. So when you see a crazy mock draft like this, suggesting we should trade Bo, don't take it seriously. Laugh at it, use it as motivation, and keep supporting our quarterback, because he needs the family. He needs to feel that Broncos country is with him. And look, it's not just about Bo Nix. It's about the entire philosophy of the organization. The Denver Broncos aren't a team that gives up easily. We're not a team that panics. We build, we develop, we believe in our guys. And that's been the identity of this team for decades. Think about the great moments in franchise history. Think about John Elway, who took years to finally win a Super Bowl, but when he won 2 in a row. Think about Von Miller, who built his legacy game after game, until he became Super Bowl 50 MVP. These things take time. They take patience. They take belief. And that's what Bo Nix needs now. Time, patience, belief. And I guarantee you that if we give him that, he'll reward us. He'll become the quarterback we all know he can be. But let's talk about what really needs to happen for the Denver Broncos to maximize the potential of this roster. Because the mock draft was right about one thing, outside of the quarterback position, this team is really good. And there's work to be done to elevate the team to the next level. First, offensive weapons. Courtland Sutton is an excellent number one receiver, but he needs help. The team needs more options in the passing game. Whether through the draft or free agency, the front office needs to add talent at the wide receiver position, a dynamic slot receiver, a deep threat who can stretch the field. These are real needs. Second, tight end. The position hasn't been an X factor. It hasn't been that weapon quarterbacks can use as a safety valve. And in the modern NFL, tight ends are crucial. Look at what Travis Kelce does in Kansas City. Look at what George Kittle does in San Francisco. Having an elite tight end transforms an offense. Third, offensive line. Garrett Bowles has been a cornerstone at left tackle for years, but he's aging. He'll be 34 next offseason, and while he's still playing at a high level, the team needs to start planning for the future. Fourth, running back. Denver's running game has been decent, but it hasn't been dominant. And in a game where you want to control the clock, keep the defense rested, and take pressure off the rookie quarterback, having an elite running game makes a difference. These are the areas where Denver needs to invest. These are the positions that will make a real difference for Bo Nix's development and the team's success. Not quarterback, not replacing the guy who's leading the team, but rather giving him the tools to succeed. And defensively, the team is playing at a very high level. The pass rush is getting there. The coverage is holding up, but you can always improve. And with some draft picks, Denver can transform a good defense into a dominant defense that can carry the team to the Super Bowl. Because that's what we're talking about here. It's not just about winning a few games. It's not just about making the playoffs. It's about building a contender. It's about assembling a team that can compete for the championship. And you don't do that by discarding your quarterback after 1 year. You do it by building around him. So, Broncos country, here's my message. Don't let crazy mock drafts like this shake your confidence. Bo Nix is our guy. He's the future. And his journey with the Denver Broncos is just beginning. And to the organization, to the front office, to Sean Payton, keep believing, keep developing, keep building. Because the path you're on is the right path. It's the path that leads to sustainable success. I know some people will disagree. They'll say, Bo Nix isn't the answer, that we need an upgrade. But I completely disagree. The window isn't closing, it's opening. And Bo Nix is the key. And imagine how disrespectful it would be to the locker room if the team actually did this, if they really used a first-round pick on a quarterback after giving Bo only 1 year. How do you think the other players would react? How would that affect the confidence, chemistry, and culture of the team? Because football isn't just about individual talent. It's about the team. It's about everyone rowing in the same direction. It's about believing in each other. And if the organization showed they don't believe in the quarterback, that would send a terrible message to the rest of the roster. So no, this isn't going to happen. And I'm confident it won't happen. Because the people making decisions for the Denver Broncos are smarter than that. They understand Bo Nix's value, and they understand that the path to success goes through giving him all the necessary tools. So Denver Broncos family, what do you all think about all this? Do you believe in Bo Nix? Do you think this mock draft is complete madness, or does it have some merit? Comment down below. Hit that like button if you agree that Bo Nix is Denver's future. Share this with that Broncos country friend who needs to see this. And until the next video, family, let's go together toward the Super Bowl.